It's my great pleasure to introduce Tandean Rustandy. Tandian is a good friend of mine. He's a former student. He's my mentor, even though he says it's the opposite. He's an inspiration to me and to many people that he touches in his life. Tandian was born in a small village on a remote island in Indonesia. He eventually went to the University of Colorado Boulder. And then he went back home to Indonesia, where he's lived forever afterwards. He eventually founded his own company, Arwana Citramulia, which is a manufacturer of floor tiles and is a very successful company. Tandian has had a long interest in the social impact of business and ethics in business. In fact, he wrote this book on corruption in Indonesia and the importance of integrity in business, which is a great book, and wrote that in 2011, and it gives you some idea of the long-standing interests he's had in values in business. Tandian, despite his success, went and joined our executive MBA program in our Asia program. I had the honor of teaching him then. He graduated in 2007. Since then, he's been very active and generous with the school. We have the Rustandy Center for Social Sector Innovation, which is named in his honor. Tandian was given our Booth Distinguished Alumni Award. He's really won too many awards and honors to mention all of them, to be honest. And then recently, in 2019, he was also elected to the Board of Trustees of the University of Chicago. Tandian's at his home in Jakarta right now. How are you doing?
Hi, Mike. Very good. Actually, just arrived from US last night.
Yeah, I understand that you received yet another honor at the University of Colorado Boulder, which now has a Rustandy building. So congratulations for that. I hope the football team won.
Yeah, actually, this is the most exciting game I ever watched in my life. When I was a college student in 1986, I watched Colorado for the very first time we beat Nebraska, 1986. And then the last Saturday in the homecoming, I watched that we are able to beat Oregon State in the double overtime. Because we are our team is not so good, and we are able to beat the first time in this year, the winning team, their winning team.
Well, that's great. I'm afraid the University of Chicago can't offer you good football, unfortunately, but we have some other features.
You know, the most important thing about Chicago is the knowledge, the education. So this is the most important.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So you said that you wanted to talk about how COVID-19 has affected Indonesia. Indonesia has 17,500 islands. I had to look it up. Has about 275 million people. US, like for comparison, has about 330 million. So they're similar in population, but with 500 islands, a developing country without a lot of capacity in the government and in public health and so forth, I can only imagine that COVID-19 has presented some very significant challenges. What's the current state of COVID in Indonesia right now?
I think right now we are one of the best. I mean, from the data that I'm seeing, every day is about 400, 500 people. Out of the 275 million people, we are only about 400 to 500 people. Okay, and then the tested rate is not about 400 to 500, but it's about the testing rate is about every day is about 200,000 people we test for the COVID. So that means we are very good in ASEAN, even in Singapore, where for us in ASEAN, Singapore is the best of the best. But right now, Singapore is having problem. Yeah, it's having problem. And this is very personal. When I look at the COVID, actually, I have to give thanks that this pandemic is really opened up the eyes for everyone, that we need to take care of the environment. We have to take care of what God has given to us. Yeah, the business been keep rolling and then making so much money, but they forgot about the environment. But with this COVID, when everything is slowing down, the government have to pump in so much money and to restart to restart. And thanks God that we look at all the undeveloped country, like in Africa, and then in Asia or undeveloped country. I think the undeveloped country is doing quite well because the immune system of the people, that the quality of life of most of the people is below what in the developed country. But because of the quality of life is not so good, build up their immune system. And this is also the proven that why Indonesia and India, we can look at it, we are able to survive, and we and not only survive, but we are already get out, and then we are starting to move on with the condition, but with a still very strict protocol.
You did have a very serious wave in February, didn't you? Of COVID?
Yeah, I mean, the worst is after the, like the India, after the big holiday, and then Indonesia, we really have the worst is last July, the worst. Okay, when after the June, when we have after the fasting month, we have the largest holiday, like in US, when we call it like a Thanksgiving Day. So at that time, the COVID, every day, the daily rate is about 55 to 60,000. That is really scary. The problem is not about 50 or 60,000, but our health system are not there to support. Our hospital bed are not really able to support. And that is really scary. Yeah. And back again is about the immune system. Nobody is going to help you. You have to really take care of yourself. And this is what I learned. This is what I learned, that this COVID is about discipline. COVID is about how you take care of other people. And then you have to build up your, everything is not about right now, but we have to talk about before that.
I'm not sure what you mean about that part, talking about
okay, it's the same like U of Chicago. U of Chicago, the ranking is so high. Okay, in most category. Why it could be today? It doesn't because the work hard of everybody for today, but it's been started long time ago. So it's the same like myself, about why we could survive. Like myself and all the company, I could survive is because we started before I started my company, have that kind of vision that we have to prepare and respect the people. You have to really respect and treat the people, especially in the undeveloped country. Money and power is everything. They don't take and they don't respect people. You are coming to work because you need a job, you need a money. But for myself, that is not the right way, because I always believe that human relation, the strata is higher than about the money. Money is created by us. Of course, money is extremely important in our life, but money cannot control people. We have control the money. Not the money, the relation of the money control us. So the COVID, this is the something that we should learn about slowing down, and then we have to flashback about our way of life is the right way.
Okay.
Yeah. This is, for me, is personally, is actually is a very good timing, not only for myself, actually for everybody to really observe. Are we understand that this life is not about the money, but this life is about how we can take care of this world. Only last week, when all the G20 or the leader, they have a meeting in Glasgow about climate change. Yeah, about the climate change. I was in Boulder last week. It never happened to me almost 3.5 years. When I was in Boulder during November, the temperature, I mean, I'm talking Celsius, hit 25. Doesn't make sense. So it's, yeah, we should really have to flashback that environment. I mean, this world is really is the place that we are going to stay. Even ourselves, we are not going to live forever, but we have children, we have grandchildren, we have the future generation that we really need to take care.
So I hear you, and I'm not surprised, because the values that you personify have always been important to you. They were important to you when you were a student in my class. They've been important in your public speaking, in your work with the universities, and of course in your business. I want to talk about that soon. But do you see others in Indonesia, Indonesian leadership, changing their views in the way you're discussing? I mean, how has COVID affected, say, the Indonesian government's approach to public health and to?
I have to admit that my president been really taking good care of this country very well. Because if, again, like the Chicago school, right? We always look at the data. In terms in ASEAN, okay? We talk about the big country, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, and then Brunei. Those countries, they have a very excellent health system compared to us. We are not. But the data show that in terms of, in every category, I think Indonesia come up to be the best. We have a big population. We have to understand that most of the people in Indonesia, within 3 days, if they're not working, they cannot survive. Okay, we cannot lock down the country. If we are not locked down the country, then there are many people are going out and then have to do a lot of their work outside. It's very dangerous. But our president have to let it be. We cannot follow what a lot of the country that have to lock down.
Mm-hmm.
What happened with most of the people? And we are not as rich as Singapore. We are not as rich as United States. We can pump in so much money. The government couldn't do it. So this is actually the testing about the leadership. Yeah, testing about the leadership that we are able to survive. And in terms of GDP, I think in ASEAN, we grow the most. In terms of controlling the COVID, right now, the rate, we are the lowest. Comparing the Singapore, the death rate, I think Indonesia are still much better.
Wow.
Yeah, and I can prove it. But again, it's about, we are not a very strong country because we are right now maybe the second largest democracy country in the world. But again, the leadership of the president, this is the proof about the Chicago Star, that the leader need to go down and really hands-on.
So what did he do? What did he do that you think was particularly important?
Can you imagine during June until August, one day he go to 3 cities. He visited 3 cities and really requesting the people to have a vaccine. And you have to understand that during this pandemic, the first country received a lot of the vaccine from outside. I mean, outside of, US, all the branded one, we are only receiving from China, Sinovac.
Mm-hmm.
And now we are already have more than 270 million shot.
Mm.
Yeah, 270 million shot of the vaccine. That means the leader, before happening of this, just the beginning of the COVID, he already sent the minister go to China, go to England, go to the United States to lobby to get the vaccine. Is other country, the leader will go outside to lobby to get the vaccine? I don't think so. We are poor country, and then the Chinese send us a lot. So we are very grateful for the Chinese government able to send us, even though right now, when you are going everywhere, they only approve Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson, not Sinovac, not Sinopharm. But most of the Indonesian, we got shot of Sinovac, and it's proven. Yeah, it's not about the quality, but I believe it's about, this is how the president really have the heart for the people. And look at him as a president. he doesn't have any business. He doesn't take care of other things. He just focuses on running the country. And you look at all the big country in the world right now, I believe, okay, that my president is really doing everything for the people, the Indonesian people. I am really grateful, especially for this pandemic.
Has there been much controversy among Indonesian citizens about the pandemic and the policies and vaccines? Certainly in the United States, we've had a lot of this has been politicized, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about Indonesia. You have a very different culture than we have.
Mm-hmm. I believe that because the US is very polarized, but the majority of the Indonesian are the Muslim. They believe that most of the vaccine is content of some cell from the pork, okay? Some cell from the pig. So as the Muslim, they believe, especially the radical side, right? They think try to influence the people not to take the vaccine, but it's not about what is coming from, but it's about how can we survive. The president is really wise. The defense force and the police really go down all over Indonesia, try to convince. It's not easy. Okay, you are not like United States that you go everywhere you can get the vaccine. I myself, I went to United States to get the vaccine very easy. But Indonesia, we have to get the queue to get the vaccine. So it's completely different. US, they provide everything, but the US citizen doesn't want to take it. But for the Indonesian, okay, the same like the Indian, yeah, we are talking about the big country. We are really eager to get the vaccine. Not everyone have the quality and the facility like in United States. And we don't have that money, don't have that much money to buy from everywhere. You know, not like Singapore is such a rich country. We are not. But again, I believe is that as a leader, you really need to be hands-on and not using your way to talk and the way that you convince the people, but this is to prove that you really have to go down and deal with the people. And this is the same like myself. During this COVID time, everybody is staying away from Indonesia. Most of the entrepreneurs in Indonesia, they stay away. I get an example about myself. March 2020, to be specific, 14th of March 2020, when Singapore government announced March 15, nobody can come into Singapore free. Anybody want to come need to be approved, and then they need to be quarantined for 14 days. I was in Singapore at that weekend. I told myself, I'm going back on the 15th. The reason I have to go back is I need to be close with my people. I need to be close with my team. How can you telling the people to don't be afraid, to motivate them? You are well and you will be taken good care. But I myself staying in Singapore.
So let's talk about that a little bit now. So Arwana, tell us a little bit about your company. You have what, 7 factories now? Something?
Actually, I have 5 factories right
sorry.
now. But each factory have 3 different factory. Okay. Yeah. So.
And how many employees do you have?
3,000.
3,000, and they're spread out in different locations and on different islands, right? You have one in Sumatra, a couple in Java. Yeah. Okay. So it's pretty dispersed. Okay, so you're facing on a smaller scale what you've talked about with the leader of Indonesia. You're the leader of Arwana, Citramulia. You have 3,000 employees. The business didn't shut down, did it? You kept going.
No.
So how did you handle this as CEO?
Yeah, like I said that in the beginning, when the starting of the pandemic, a lot of people in Indonesia on the 14th, everyone tried to leave to Singapore.
Right, but you went back to Jakarta.
Yeah, I proved that I need to go back because I need to stay close with my people. The reason I need to stay close to my people is even I have 3,000 workers, but my factory is running like almost 4.0. Everything is automatic. But I have 30,000 outlets. 30,000 outlets. If you multiply each outlet, I have like say 6 people. That
Yeah,
means
so
I have,
if I can explain that for the audience, so your products are sold in hardware stores and home building sites and so forth, right? And Indonesia, no?
no, I mean,
I
you
mean,
see, if let's say
when you
you are
say
only,
outlets, this is where your product gets sold to customers, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah,
your product is distributed all throughout Indonesia, which has
right.
like 80,000 small villages and so forth. So the geographic, I'm trying to get a sense for the audience of the geographical challenges that you're dealing with here. It's the 5 factories and several islands, but then all of these distribution centers, 3,000 direct employees, and then the ones who work in the distribution centers as well. So, okay, that's a hard challenge during a pandemic. So what did you do?
Yeah, you see, this is about, when you talk about the pandemic, like when I said about the University of Chicago, why today the ranking is getting better and better. This is the same, like I started 29 years ago. Okay, I have the vision that we have to be the best through the what is through the creativity. So if you look at how many factory, how many big manufacturing in Indonesia, they have the production facility separate out because the infrastructure is not good, because the human resources is not that good, especially outside of Java. But I never think that I have to build in one place. I always to keep thinking that Indonesia is a very big places that we need to build factory in the undeveloped area to build up the quality of the people. But at the same time, actually, we are learning from the finance classes is about the risk. Risk is not about the money. Risk is not about the credit, but risk is about the demographic. Yeah, look at, because of this pandemic, if let's say what happened, all my factory are located in one location, 3,000 people in Jakarta. When the first time the pandemic hit, Jakarta is the center of the problem. But because my factory are located outside of Jakarta, so I don't have that problem. At the same time, when we talk about running a factory, is not only the people, we have the supply chain, the supplier. What happened if, let's say in Jakarta, when Jakarta is locked down for almost 6 months, I think a lot of the factories shut off, but my factory are located outside of Jakarta in different places. So it's still running. And at the same time, you also look at how can I distribute my product to 30,000 outlets. If let's say located in Jakarta, I don't have the driver, the truck driver to deliver all the product. So it's again about the risk. Yeah, this is about the creativity. And then back again about the innovation. Yeah, about the vision. Innovation. I am there to say that no one in Indonesia, no one in Southeast Asia, even in Southeast Asia, the second largest producers ceramic tile in the world coming from Thailand. I don't think their technology is as good as Arwana. I don't think their selling price that is as low as Arwana. It's not only Southeast Asia, even in China. We never increase our selling price. We try to be more efficient because we learn that competition makes you stay alive. So from the beginning, 29 years ago, we talk about creativity, innovation. A lot of people always think that you are crazy. But during this pandemic, it turned out, we turned out to be the champion.
Okay, so you built this very strong institution, the company, the products, the technology, the innovation, the people. Now, how were you able to build on that during a pandemic with 3,000 employees who are at risk of getting a deadly disease? What'd you do?
When I was in Singapore, okay, I went there almost every month. When the beginning, the started of the pandemic, we learned that, you know, the Singapore government actually already imposed a lot of a very strict protocol. From that, I learned when I came back, I really have to follow what the Singapore government been doing. First of all, it's about the social distancing. Is that enough? No. I have to give a vitamin to every one of my people. We know that most of the Indonesian, they don't take vitamin, but I learned that vitamin C and vitamin D is extremely important. Besides that, we have to take care of the cleanliness. And this is already, we started 29 years ago, when all the factory have to be very clean. We make sure that everybody have to be coming to the factory, they need to take a shower. When they leave the factory, they also need to be cleaned up and take a shower. You see, and the most important thing is that when they're having a meal, social distancing is still not enough. We have to give a proper meal, is more protein so that they can boost their immune. Is that enough? Still not enough. They have to bring their own utensil so that doesn't spread whatever thing that before we provide, that is not. Even we are really try to be as clean, but we make sure that everyone have to bring in their own utensil. You know, bring in their spoon, fork, yeah, the glasses. Everyone have to bring from their home, so that really need to take care. Again, every week, in the beginning, when we don't have the swab antigen, we have to do the rapid test. You know, this is really a very bad thing for a lot of entrepreneurs in developed country. The rapid test maybe right now doesn't cost so much, but in the beginning, each person is cost about $30.
Wow.
Crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
$30. Okay, and then we have to do it almost every week for how much? 3,000 people. How much does it cost? But for me, it's about not about the cost, but I just want to make sure that my people is safe every week. And then doing after the rapid test and then coming out the swab antigen. Antigen in the beginning is about $30 and then calm down. Right now, you know, the airport in the beginning almost $30. Right now are still about $7 per person. And then we still do it every week. And if we also do it for the swab PCR, you know, one person costs almost about $300. So I am challenged. I mean, I'm really there to talk about the cost, right? A lot of the big corporation in Indonesia, they don't care. They don't care because the cost is too much. But for myself, I respect about the people. That's the reason I can run 24/7. And then before the pandemic, the company never grow every year more than 50%. But for the last 2 years during this pandemic, we outrun everyone.
Really?
It turned out never in Arwana history that we are able to do so much, you know, and then we are able to gain, yeah, use the word gain, right? Proven that because we are really taking care of the people and the people understand that. That's the bonding. I think in your class, you were teaching about, and then also that other classes about how we respect the people, respect the employee. Then the employee really have the full heart working with you. And it's really proven during this pandemic. And it's also proven, I mean, for the Indonesian government, I mean, the Indonesian president, that he really go down to take care of the people. He doesn't care about himself. The same like myself. A lot of people staying a good life in Singapore. Why have to come back here? Our health system is not good. You know, I do my swab antigen almost 6 times a week. Because I visit different factory, I have to do my swab antigen.
Yeah. Tandian,
Yeah,
I don't know what else we're going to talk about, but I just want to say this. What you just said was a really beautiful story about how you took care of your people at enormous expense, and you know how they responded to that. So thank you for that. Then that's very meaningful. How did your employees do with COVID? Did you have any outbreaks? Or I would imagine.
Can you imagine the almost 2 years, right? We have only 3 of my employees pass away. Those pass away are not the very senior one, but those are very young one. Okay, those are a very young one, just 30 years old. And you know, this is something that they take it for granted. They feel that they feel okay. Okay, they do not, we put them in the hospital, they said, it's okay, we just stay at home. When they are out of breath, we are not able to get the oxygen. Okay, those are the 3 average of them, 29 and 30 years old.
Well, that's a remarkable record. So, you know, you also helped your employees survive during this pandemic in a medical sense too. I remember you told me something a few months ago about you were also providing medical help to your distributors, not just to your employees. Can you say something about that just very briefly? Because you went beyond just the core of Arwana.
Yeah, yes. You know, when a lot of my distributor and the outlet, they are not located in the first tier city. Most of them are in the second and the third tier city. And the medical system, they are even worse. So I need to provide the medicine for them. Especially, you know, we learn from the Chinese government that what kind of medicine is good during this COVID time. So we bought a lot and then send, you know, I have 30,000 outlet. I have to send them, like, let's say one outlet, I send them 10 boxes. How many boxes of that? And then one outlet, they have how many workers? I have to send them a vitamin. Yeah. And then if these outlets are located in a very tough area, I ask the outlet to really taking care of the environment. So we send them more vitamin, you know, and then send them a lot of the staple food like rice, noodle, and the oil. But whatever thing we do, we look at the bottom line. A lot of people are not doing that, but look at their bottom line. So I always believe is that the more that you are taking care of other people, and then the other people always try to really push your product. And it's really, it's not like about you have vested interest, but it's talking about your heart.
Thanks for adding that little bit. I want to say to the audience, keep in mind we're looking for questions. I don't see any questions yet, but please do type some questions and we'll be doing some Q&A in a little bit. So Tandian, if you don't mind, I'd like to change gears just very briefly. Do you happen to recognize the picture on the wall behind me?
The picture? Yeah, the Chicago booth, the sticker.
No, the picture on the wall behind me. No, behind me, not you.
Oh, behind you.
Do you recognize it?
Yeah, it's a painting. Yeah, it's Okay. Yeah.
That's the doors of our campus in Singapore. It's a photograph that was taken by Steve Golden, who made a book of pictures of the campus. But anyway, so I wanted to ask you, when you were in our program, you were already very successful. Why did you bother getting an MBA? You didn't need an MBA.
This is very, you want me to say it bluntly?
Yeah, of course.
Actually, I get into EMBA. It's not my wish. It's my wife.
Susan.
My wife liked me to stay more time in Singapore. Yeah, I've been staying in Indonesia. Only the weekend I do go back to Singapore. And my wife, yeah, want me to spend more time with the family. But it turned out, you know, this when you get married, wife is really a very important partner. And she pushed me, and I did join, and I feel that is really one of the best decisions, besides I get married to my wife, getting an EMBA from Chicago Booth, very important.
Because you got to spend more time with your family, or because I know we give you a lot of homework.
Actually, it's not, right. You know, the time that, and then the project that we have to spend so much time. Even we spend 1 week in Singapore, you don't have the time to spend with the family. Okay, but the quality of the education, when Evan said about the quality of the education in class and outside of the class. First, when I'm running my business, I have my secretary to do many things for me. But when I get into the class, everyone, we have the project that everyone have to do the project. Then this is the time that I have to recall that, okay, we have to be, you cannot be bossy. Yeah, cannot be bossy. You have to be part of the team. Number two, when you are teaching the class, okay, teaching about human resources, when you're teaching, my brain, my mind are thinking about, oh, is this the right way? No, the decision that whatever thing you teach, I try to think and then apply to the real in running the company. Now, most of the students in EMBA, they are working and they have their business. So it's, you know, the classes really make me think a lot. Okay. Number three, when the beginning, before I had my EMBA, I do a lot of my decision making is by gut feeling, not by data. But it's proven since I graduated in 2007 until now, the time that I graduated until now, the company been growing so much, more than I think 60 times, more than 60 times. The reason why I could grow, my heart is the same when I started the company, but we analyze a lot, and then we teach the people have to run the data. Like when I said I have 30,000 outlets, but why I'm not worried about my people, you know, especially the marketing people to leave the company. You know, the sales are not, I'm not worried at all, because when they are going to the meeting with the outlet, they are not bringing the sample of the ceramic tiles. They are not trying to sell about the product, but they are discussing about, this is the product you are able to sell very well. This is the product that you make a better margin. You know, we are teaching the outlet that you are not just selling the big volume, but think about how to make, don't sell quantity, but sell the quality. So everything is really data, data, and data.
Okay. So Roz has typed a question. Hi, Roz, which is related to this. She asks, what are the top 3 things that you took away from the Booth program that had the most impact in managing through the pandemic?
Okay. Number 1 for myself is about this pandemic is teaching us to slow down, not really try to expand and then think about how big you could be. But it's about, right now you have to slow down to think about the capacity, because these small things could create a lot of problem. Yeah, every country in this world got affected. Okay, this is number 1. Number 2, I learned that we talk about in Indonesia, everyone suddenly have to stay at home. When stay at home, and most of the Indonesian houses, we talk about majority of the people, very small. And suddenly the very small houses and Indonesian people have many children. Then realize that staying at home, they understand the quality of their family. Before, everyone is always spending time outside. And then by the time, I mean, with this moment in time when they stay at home, they realize that, oh, my home, miss here, miss that. Then they spend a lot and improve the quality of their house. Number 3, from this pandemic, I really learned about in terms of running business. The quality of my people, the loyalty of my people, I can tell that most of them, they prefer to work rather stay at home. Most of them. When I say they prefer to work rather stay at home, is if they stay at home, in the beginning, a lot of people think taking a holiday is very good. But if you stay more than a month, you really go crazy. But the government imposed a lot of the people, we have to work maybe 75%. Those people who are in the office have to stay at home. But we have all the operational in the factory and we have operational at a different area. So the people really enjoy that coming back to work. They understand about why we have to work. So they work from the heart and give out their best.
Hey, I would work for you.
Well,
but anyway, and in some sense I do, since you're on the board of trustees. But so Take has a question that's related to that. It's something you and I talked about a little bit in other conversations. At some point, you're going to be stepping down as CEO, some point soon, right? And so Take is asking, how are you preparing for the next generation and the next leader internally in Arwana?
Actually, from the day one when I started the company, that I will never be the leader all the time. If you become the leader all the time, that means you are a dictator. Okay, you are authoritarian. So you have to build up the fundamental that anytime you can step down. So it's proven that even I am not, when I said I'm very hands-on, I'm very hands-on because I visit the factory, give the motivation and show about a good value to my team. I don't sign a check. I don't know who is my supplier for the procurement. Okay, I don't know who is my what do you call it? All the important of all my supplier. I don't know about them. But you see, most of the, we talk about in Indonesia, we talk about just Indonesia. Mostly the owner, the CEO, they need to control the finance. I don't. They need to control their procurement. I don't. And then they need to control the marketing. I don't. What I really care is how do I manage my people.
But are you grooming a successor, the next CEO, or how are you thinking about that?
Yeah, if this is the reason why I manage, how can I take care of my people? My COO right now is about 40 years old. Okay, the average age in the company is about 35.
Wow.
Average. I am 55, so I'm the oldest. So if you look at the average age is 35, that means you see a very good future for the company.
Yeah.
This is what I always believe, that you cannot be the leader all the time. You have to step down.
Well, we have an EMBA program. If you want to send anyone to us, let me know.
Okay.
Here's a different question from Hubert. Which challenges did you encounter in your founding years, and how did you resolve them?
Can you repeat the question again?
What challenges did your company encounter in your founding years, your early years, and how did you resolve them?
First of all, when we started, okay, we are first of all, who is willing to work for you? You know, people will start working for a better company rather than just just the beginning. Yeah, will they sacrifice their life, to work for this company? So that's the reason my employee, mostly I don't recruit from the big city educated people. I recruit from the uneducated and undeveloped area. This is number one challenge. And then number two, who want to buy my product or who want to sell my product in the big city? They will think that, oh, crazy, this is a lousy product. So I always think about that is the reason why I have my education in United States. You look at Coca-Cola, you want to go to Montana, you can get the Coca-Cola at the same price like in New York. Okay, now, so I have to distribute my product. The price in Jakarta at this price and the price in other island at this price. So if let's say I sell my product in Jakarta, they cannot sell it to the outer island. So you make sure that the other island, my distribution cost, transportation cost is about 20%. So I make sure they can make a better profit. Yeah. And then number three is when I started, I don't have the economic of scale. So it's about the mindset. When you want to start the company, are you going to make the money or you want to build your fundamental? So this is the question a lot of the entrepreneur and for the future leader, especially from coming up from the university. Don't think about you have to make money upfront. Okay, don't always think that whatever thing you do, you have to make a lot of profit, but you have to build the fundamental. So it's turned out right now, when I said my product, my company is the number 2 in Indonesia, I don't believe anybody there to say they're number 1. Indonesia is undeveloped. Our human resources compared to Vietnam cannot the quality, okay, the Vietnam or the Chinese. But tell me in China, can they sell the product the same price like myself? No one. I'm a public listed company. My average selling price is about $2.3. 2.3, that means my distribution cost all over Indonesia. Indonesia is a maritime country. The cost is so high, but I'm still making a double digit in bottom line.
Yeah. And by the way, for the audience, the quality of Tandian's products is very, very high. He has very high-tech factories. You import machinery from Italy, for example. I have 2 questions here that are Indonesia related. The first is from Vinod. What are the major barriers in Indonesia that will impact its growth in the next 5 to 10 years?
I don't think when you look at from the CNN, from a lot of, the information, they always think the barrier. Actually, what the barrier in Indonesia is the same like other country. You need to hands-on to run your business. With this president, he tried to build up the infrastructure. No other president since Indonesian independent built the infrastructure. Try to cut a lot of the red tape. We are trying to whatever thing we can do, the Indonesian government right now is try to welcome all the investor. But the problem, the investor coming to Indonesia mostly are in the natural resources. They are not in the manufacturing. What Indonesia need is in the manufacturing. But, well, no one there to come in the manufacturing, not much. Okay, so it's again, it's only a very tiny investor from foreign. They come in the manufacturing.
Yeah.
And myself, I don't look at there is any barrier. If there is any barrier, I am running a company in a very transparent way. A lot of my friends are asking, how could you do it? Why not? Why the people are, the government, the local government is not disturbing you? I only say the simple thing. When I started this business, I worked with the local. I built the factory in an undeveloped area, and then I trained the people, quote unquote. There are many criminals. I recruit them and to work for me. And then it's proven, right? He was a criminal, but it changed. And then the children right now graduated from the best university in Indonesia. And then they are working back to me, making work for me. So I always believe that whatever thing we do, don't think about the short run.
I'll just know that the assets that you're investing in are not just the the physical capital. You're talking about the human capital and the social capital, the culture of your company and the reputation you have. It's really beautiful to hear these things. Thank you for that. The other Indonesian question I have is a little more narrowly focused, but it's from someone who's in the AXP program right now living in Indonesia. So I've got to let him ask you this. So this is George Irawan. He says, "Hi, Pak Tandian. I'm George from Indonesia, AXP 21. What would you consider to be the biggest value takeaway from your Booth MBA?" So he's in the program right now, so he can really benefit from what you say.
I learned from all the faculty. You look at some of them are Nobel laureate. How many years they have to be very consistent in their field, then they can get their Nobel laureate. What happened in the halfway their career, and then some big corporation ask them to join, but they don't. They stay focused because they always think that they need to develop more and much better student than themselves. It's the same like yourself. Why you like to teach for so long? Because you have the patience to guide and to teach people to be better and better. When people are educated and then they have the backup with their soft skill, then they can produce a better, especially they become the salt, they become the light. So this is the greatest value that I got. What happened in a lot of other, like just example, okay? A lot of the a big corporation, why they keep changing of the human resources in their top level. Anybody they can give a better pay, they move. And then you see the turnover in U of Chicago. And you can see the turnover. I've been graduated for more than 15 years. And you taught me, and now you are still teaching. So this is what the greatest value, the consistent and the patient of the faculty.
So I want to ask a related question. I'm curious. So you're on the board of trustees for the whole university now, and from your perspective, what would you tell us about the university, the state of the university right now, or what you're learning in those trustee meetings?
The trustee, quote unquote, is the owner of the university. So the last 2 years during this pandemic, when the revenue suddenly drops, but the expenses are kept, we cannot cut the expenses suddenly. The university are still in a very good shape. And then recently we can hear that the South Side always giving a problem. And there are many EMBA, I was in the group. I'm still in the group. A lot of them still complain about blah, 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 blah. You see, it's that simple. It's so easy to complain, but right now you have a 5 billion budget. Yeah, the revenue suddenly down so much, but you see the quality of the education still there. We have so much meeting during this pandemic. The reason we have so much meeting on this pandemic is we make sure that the university doesn't reduce the people. We make sure that the university have to maintain at any cost the quality of the education, the quality of the faculty, and the most important is the safety. And it's proven during this pandemic how many universities have during this pandemic, they can manage the student, they can manage this COVID as good as U of Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a very simple thing. If I ask me this question, I can talk for you for 1 hour. But again, is that the most important thing, the quality of the university. And you look at the application for the Chicago Booth. Okay, because this is a Chicago Book program. How much, we have a lot of the application, more application than before. We don't talk about the college. And this is proven that the school is in a very, very, very strong. financial, as well as also the other fundamental. What do I learn from as a trustee? I look at all the trustee. They are really a strong leader with heart. I learn from a lot of the senior. I really learn from them. And I am a rookie 3 years ago. And they don't look at me as a rookie. They really guide me and mentoring me. I am in the audit committee. I know everything about the school. The more that I know, I realize that this is why the school can survive, because the trustee, most of the trustee, they are not sitting there as a trustee, but they are so hands-on and they are so full heart. Okay, full heart in terms of supporting financially, supporting their time as well as their networking.
Thank you for that. That's very good to hear that we're in such good hands with such good people who work so hard and care so much, and care about the values of the University of Chicago. So I thank you for that, as someone who's been around U of C since 1980 and plans to stay at it for a while. I also want to thank you for your time in the session with our audience. I'm afraid we're running out of time. And on a personal note, I always learn from you. You're a blessing to anyone that you interact with, to me, to your family, your workers, your colleagues, and our alumni too. So thank you for that, Tandian.
I'm grateful, able to share my experience to this. To all friends from the Chicago Booth. We are all big family. Everyone have to really prove we can contribute something to maintain our Chicago Booth. Have to be better and better.
All right. Well, thank you, my brother.
For yourself